Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to the Scratchy Record Show.
My name is Jennifer Childs. I am the producing artistic director of 1812 Productions.
And I'm Scott Greer, and you're welcome.
And welcome to this week's I Put On Pants for This. And, you know,
we keep it high tech. That's the thing. We keep it very high tech.
We have a record player, which we really love, and we have all these old records. And every time I think that I found a song that doesn't skip, it skips. It just skips. So,
all right.
But,
so what are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I am drinking bourbon with a little bit of lemonade in it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. How about you?
I am drinking a new cocktail called the TDH, the Too Damn Hot, because it's really hot. So the TDH is 1 part gin, 1 part tonic. You muddle with humidity, and then you watch it turn to steam because it's TDH in Philadelphia.
Indeed, especially in our house, as we do not have central air.
Yeah.
So as we say every week, this is usually usually at this time we would be sitting in the theater laughing, and as we can't do that, we are gathering around our dining room table to talk about comedy. And for the past month, summers at 1812 mean the Jilline Ringle Solo Performance Program, and so for the past month we have been having guests who have been residents and grantees from the Jilline program. For those who do not know Jilline, she was the 6-foot redhead Amazon from hell whom all men desire. Cheers. Who had an astonishing cabaret career here and in Cape May and in Pittsburgh and across the country. And we
Queen
honor,
of many realms.
Yes, Queen of many realms, and we honor her every year by hosting these residencies that benefit solo performers and help them develop their solo work.
Before we get to the saint of the day,
yes,
I just want to remind you that if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can shout out to us, ask questions in the comments section. If you have a question or a comment, and that is being carefully vetted by our trusty in-house producer, Lily Greer.
Yes, indeed.
So please, pipe up.
Indeed. But one of the things that Jilline would do as one of the opening bits in her signature cabaret Mondo Mancha is she would do Saint of the Day. So in honor of Jilline, we are doing Saint of the Day.
Really more of a rite than a bit.
It is right. It is a rite. It is a rite and not a bit.
just to cover all the bases.
Just to cover all the bases.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the word bit. I don't like it.
I know you don't
like it. No, whenever we're doing a play and it's like, oh, we could do this bit here, I'm kind of like, bit. I do comedy. I don't know why I don't like bit. I like the phrase comic opportunity.
Yeah, because it's honest and it's organic.
That's
and it comes from a place that
bit feels like
move your arm like that and it's funny.
I know. I don't know why, but I like shtick.
Yeah,
I like shtick, but I don't like bits.
Yeah. Well, okay, you're gonna hate your birthday present. All right, let's.
I gotta go write my journal. All right. So Saint of the Day, and Scott did not know what this is.
No, I never do.
It is. Get ready to get confused, people, because I was confused today. All right, the Saint of the Day is Saint Olaf of Sweden.
From Frozen?
No. But add that into the confusing mix because St. Olaf of Sweden is not to be confused with St. Olaf of Norway, who was the saint of the day yesterday. Oh. So, okay, this is just
back-to-back
Olafs.
Olafs.
Get ready, back-to-back Olafs. If I had $1.
I know. Poor Wednesday Olaf just doesn't get any love.
I know. Monday's Olaf is full of grace or whatever. Anyway, so, okay, St. Olaf was the first Christian king of Sweden. He was baptized and converted by St. Siegfried and is therefore considered the link between the Viking era and the Middle Ages.
And thereby using all names ever named to a male child in Sweden.
In Sweden. Well, get ready. Okay. They're coming. Okay. St. Olaf, I love this, was the son of Eric the Victorious and Sigrid the Haughty. And I just keep thinking about, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
And I was like, I am the daughter of Susie the Perky and James the Long-Winded.
I want to look at Lily's birth certificate and see if we can't wedge the haughty in there, because I think that's
or the haughty, as the case may be. And I should say, Dad, I know that you're watching, and you are not Well, you know that you're long-winded, but that's okay. Anyway, so Sigurd the Haughty, he was also known as Olaf Skattkonung, the first person to tax and print money.
So he's a Democrat.
Yeah, he was also that because at the time the king of Norway, not the saint's dad was Olaf Tryggvason, and his son was Olaf Haraldsson, also known as Olaf the Big.
That was my name in high school.
If you were a Swede.
If I were Swedish,
I know.
that would be me, Olaf the Big.
Yeah, I think, Olaf the Anxious would be me.
Olaf the Virgo.
Olaf the Virgo. So at any rate, so there's all these Olafs. Some are in Norway, some are in Sweden. It's very confusing. So, but other than this, the thing is that other than this footnote about his conversion to Christianity, nothing about him seems saintly. Nothing about either of these men seems saintly. In fact, there was a lot of fighting at the time between the Norwegians and the Danish. So Olaf the Swede's dad, Eric the Victorious, conquered the Danish kings whose name was Sven Forkbeard. Now, I'm not lying. And ironically, when you look at his picture, clean shaven. No, clean shaven.
Because he's like, fork the beard. I'm going without.
Exactly
Yep,
right.
absolutely.
Exactly right. But then after Eric the Victorious, Olaf's dad, died, Forkbeard married his mom and got all the land back. They made an alliance and occupied England for a minute, but then Forkbeard died, and the Anglo-Saxon ruler returned, whose name was Ethelred the Unready. How do you name yourself the Unready? I don't know.
What's your name? I'm not ready.
It is something else. Okay, so then, oh my gosh, it's even
more
confusing.
Sorry, keep going.
Olaf of Norway and Olaf of Sweden got into it. Olaf of Sweden won in Norway, and Olaf of Norway won in Sweden. There was a Swedish peasant uprising because they didn't want Norway and they didn't want war. And then,
just to be clear, they're both saints today.
They're both saints today, but we still haven't figured out why. We haven't figured out why. So then a well-respected man named Thorny Lawspeaker, I'm not lying, made a speech.
He was like a cut character from a Hawthorne novel.
I know, that's right.
Like Goody Proctor and whatever.
I saw
Thorny Lawspeaker did bespake. Yeah.
Yes. But he made a speech threatening to throw Olaf the Swede in a well, and so they stopped the war with Norway. Because,
that's all it took.
That's all it took. But so it was universally acknowledged that neither of these Olafs was a very good king. And other than the fact that they were early Christians, I don't know why they were saints. So, okay, maybe.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, why do you think they were saints?
Because they were both kings. They had money, and they were like,
okay,
here's Thorny the Lawspeaker and all of his money. We're gonna, and take the well. Make me a saint. I think that's why. They built a church or something.
Well, they may have done, but there's all these conflicting things. So it's like maybe Olaf of Sweden was put to death because he refused to worship pagan idols. Maybe that's why he's a saint, but maybe he just died of old age. Who knows? Maybe Olaf of Norway's blood caused a peasant to regain his eyesight when he rubbed it in his eyes. Okay. But maybe it just dislodged some dirt.
You think that they would leave with that?
With that, exactly.
Yeah, if they'd done that.
But they're both saints. One is a Saint Olaf of Sweden. One is Saint Olaf of Norway. One is today. One is yesterday. Saint Olaf of Sweden is the patron saint of nothing. He's not the patron saint. And
wow.
I know. And Saint Olaf of Norway is the patron saint of carvers and difficult marriage.
So if you're really into whittling and it bothers your wife, pray to Saint Olaf of Norway.
But make sure it's Norway and not Sweden.
Yeah, no. You get nothing if you pray to Swedish Olaf. Well, here's to all the Olafs.
Here's to all the Olafs.
Wow.
And long may they
saint.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Amazing.
I took far too long.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
I want 20 more minutes
of
that.
I know. Well, what we have is 20 more minutes of somebody absolutely divine. Our guest for tonight is the incomparable Jennifer Blaine. Jennifer has been performing one-woman shows for 25 years. Her original writing, performing, and comedy delve into serious and socially relevant issues and provide audiences the opportunity to unite in laughter. We need that. Jennifer is open for George Carlin, performed with Chris Rock and Joe Piscopo. separately, but not together. She was featured on ABC's Philly After Midnight Women Comedians. According to the Philadelphia Daily News, quote, not even Sybil can compete with Blaine's cast of characters. Her comic genius is like Lily Tomlin and Tracy Ullman, end quote. She was the resident theater artist for the Showstoppers program at the Kimmel Center for 5 years. She performed in every Fringe Arts for the first decade of the festival, creating a new solo show for every year. Some of those original works include Sorry, White Flight, Ridiculous, and Hearing Voices. She has toured throughout the country to colleges and theater festivals. Highlights include Open Stage of Harrisburg, the White Privilege Conference, and Rose Wagner Performing Arts Center. She was featured at PIFA, and her show Dirty Joke, about women activists, was showcased at the Annenberg Center for the Arts. Her show, about a family traveling through a brain surgery called The Vicissitudes of Travel, which was co-created with Karen Gatz and was a part of the Jilline Ringle Solo Performance Program in 2017, was most recently featured at Jefferson University for their Health and Humanities Department, and brought together medical staff and the general public to dialogue about loss and purpose. It is with great pleasure that we welcome to the screen and actually give the screen over to Jennifer Blaine to share with us a piece of The Vicissitudes of Travel.
Okay. Oh, yes, welcome to the Vicissitudes of Travel. Yes, that's the name of our company, of course, and our sturdy little bus. Really lovely vehicle, isn't she? We've got a feline on board this evening. How wonderful is that? Yes, yes. Oh, I'm so pleased to have all of you here. The vicissitudes. Every trip that we take is completely different, but they all have one thing in common. They are all an actual jaunt through a difficult haunt. In other words, it's going to be just awful, but we are going to get through it together. Shame, eh? Yes. Oh, yes, that's true. We should look. We should look and see where we're traveling to today. Okay, today's journey is, no, not Olaf or Olaf. We did that already. It is, a brain surgery. Yes. Yes, that will be awful. Well, inside our bus, we will see all kinds of triggered emotions, and that will be fantastic, won't it? Yes. Oh, yes. No, do come in. Yes, are you sister? Yes, oh, I'm so pleased. Yes, we've been waiting for you. Oh, my goodness, the bags you're carrying, they're quite hefty. Do you need some assistance with that? No, I'm totally fine. I don't need any help. I'm so sorry. I hate being late. I had to get these jars, and mason jars, they're just so heavy, and then I wanted to get plastic ones so I could actually lug it here, but then I had to make sure that they were paraben-free plastic because I didn't want to poison everyone, It's the little things. Oh my God. You all made it. Oh my God. That's incredible. Okay. You know what? Can somebody help me with these jars and just, would you mind? Can you just kind of like pass them all along and make sure everybody gets one? And I really want to tell you guys about my amazing idea. Oh my God. I'm so excited. I'm just so thrilled, I got the idea when I saw your ad, Basically, well, what's the scary thing? The terrifying thing. When someone you love goes through brain surgery. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're terrified. You could lose them, right? But even if they make it, I mean, you could still lose them because they'll be different, and that's why we have these jars. Oh my God, I was so excited when I saw your ad, because you advertise in the arts magazine that I work for. Yeah, I mean, it's a semi-respectable arts magazine. It's just, most of the art is in the ad layout that I do in the back of the magazine. It's oh yeah, well, thanks. A pastiche, that's my main thing, but collage, that's my current métier. And I was taking a break and working on a collage at my desk, like I usually do. And I was working with these silk threads that I got from these Chinese change purses that my boss brought back from Hong Kong and just threw in her bottom drawer and totally forgot about. I mean, she has no respect for the inherent aesthetic beauty of objects like I do. So I was just, ripping them apart and then weaving them back together, and they evolved into these silk roads in kind of like veiny looking, like purple and red, and they look kind of stranded. So I went back to work, and that's when I saw your ad, and the bus. I mean, of course, this bus, and I was like, oh my God, that's it, right? I mean, that's it. Your bus needs to ride my silk roads. so I cut it out, and I was pasting it into my collage, and that's when I actually read it. Go where you need to go, even if you don't want to. And I fell apart. I was sobbing under my desk for 4 hours. I am so scared. And I know it's going to be fine. But just in case it's not, all of us, we are going to go through my brother's brain surgery with these jars. Yeah. And we are going to scoop up every ephemeral thing, every image, every memory, every tiny little thing that makes him who he is. So we never have to lose him. Ew, sister, that really is dynamic. No, I'm really impressed. I mean, it's just fantastic. Can you have a seat over there, dear? Because we do have to get started. Yes. Okay, perfect. The neurosurgeons don't like to be kept waiting. Okay, and we should also make sure that we tell you that there is a chance of turbulence and sudden stops. So do please buckle up. Okay. No, I need to see you. If you could just really buckle up with your, yes, okay, fantastic. Okay, right, moving on. The driver for today's journey is going to be, it is the brain tumor. Okay, well, a bit surprising. I just didn't really. Oh my! I didn't see you come in. Should we call you tumory, or maybe gliome, or gloomy? Gloomy. It's apt, isn't it? It's perfect. Oh. No. If you don't appreciate that, brain tumor, it is okay. And now it will go through the rest of the safety features for our coach. Welcome aboard, people. They don't look happy to see me. Do they, Vanna?
Oh, no. No way, Jim.
Well, maybe they'll be happy when they hear about the game that we're going to play today.
Oh, yes, Jim. It's a memory safari. Only it's not PC. We're gonna stalk those memories, capture them, keep them, and then no release.
Oh, naughty. Shall we begin? Drum roll, please. Yes, that suddenly altered gait and blindness in one eye, your seesaw of personality, and now a memory safari. This magnificence that is moi has been brought to you by multiple underwriters.
Oh, yes. And who are they, Jim?
Well, Vanna, I'd be happy to tell you. They are a grandmaster clusterfuck of miscommunication between cells and coding. Macho drunken messengers change commands to the cells from apoptosis and die to live and divide, conquer and grow, conquer and live, and kill.
Okay, Jim. Okay, Jim. Let's go back to the game.
The game. Yes, Vanna, the game. Each of our contestants will be traveling through our host brain and collecting essentialized memories and then dissecting it through their own highly subjective lens and then capturing it into their pseudo hipster, pseudo happy mayonnaise jar. What's it all about, Alfie?
Excuse me. I'm sorry. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I planned at all. I'm so sorry, darling. But we really do have to get started. If you could have a seat, dear. Just no, darling. I'm so sorry. I don't have control over this ride. Nobody does. But look, darling, please, and everyone, if you could just look there, just beyond the ram's head horn of the basal ganglia. Look, you see, we're coming up on our first clue.
Wow.
Jennifer Blaine, amazing. Thank
Hardest
you.
working woman on Zoom.
I tell you what. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that. That is the beginning of the show. That's sort of the launch of the Vicissitudes.
Right.
I have so many questions, but first of all, I want to welcome you here, and I want to hear you talk in your own voice. And are you drinking anything this evening?
You know what? I have water. It is infused with a mandala to help for leg pain.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm an alternative person, and I don't know if it works.
Well,
a shot.
We will wait to hear, and I am like, maybe not leg pain, hip pain. I'm down.
All right, I'll shoot the mandala over to you.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, there are so many things that I love about watching you perform, and one of the things that we talked about this prior to is, and it's people spoke about it in your bio, is your ability to kind of shapeshift from character to character. And I guess I'm just interested in hearing you talk, first of all, because that is something that when I first experienced solo performance, one of the first things I ever saw was Whoopi Goldberg's Spook Show. And it just blew my mind, all of her different characters, which was then like John Leguizamo and Lily Tomlin, etc. I'm interested in how this particular show uses some of those things that you've always used and loved, but in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite thing to talk about? Yes. So, what's different about this is the characters. I have at times had characters talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Usually in the past, it's showcasing, like, so they each have a monologue and then they may meet up in the end or something like that. Less about dialogue and more about monologues.
Yeah.
This piece is pretty woven, and so there's a lot of having to both, play both parts, the acting and the reacting. And I actually picture all the characters in my head. And so whenever I see myself perform, it's always a little bit weird for me. I'm like, oh, I sort of see the character right now. No, I'm not seeing them. Because I have a picture in my head and I have their voice in my head. The idea here was that we're going to have this journey with a family on the bus. And then there's also someone comes from the outside world who doesn't get it at all. And the sister is on an impossible journey to do something that is not possible, which is to actually capture the essence of somebody as if that person, as if whoever we know and whoever is out there, like that they are some absolute thing when we're really quite mutable. Yeah. And I've had audience members laugh at me as the sister when I say we're going to capture it and that way we never have to lose him. And I've had people laugh at me because the whole thing the piece is playing with is, of course, the preciousness of our attachments and our relationships, but also this whole notion that the sister is pursuing, that our memories are what make us who we are, but memories are utterly shifting and changing. And just this whole notion that she wants her brother to be who he always was, when none of us are who we always were. We are not. So, yeah.
I think we can guess, but can you talk about the inspiration for the show and where the impetus came from to make it?
Yeah. My dear brother had a brain tumor and he went through surgery, and unlike a lot of my family, I was not present. He was in Denver. I'm in Philadelphia, and I think between really missing being at that event, desperately wanting to replay it. That's one thing that was there. The grief process of having anyone go through such a traumatic event and wanting to just explore that. The piece that evolved is different than why I needed to write initially. So Karen Gatz was extraordinary because I had all these pieces written and she read them all. She made me put them all on Google Docs. It was about 200 pages of just material. And then she said, she went through it all and she's like, this, that's the tone. And she said, and she said personally, she didn't want to hear another first person account of I went through this thing. And she said, your thing is characters. So if you can make a piece that is, yes, inspired by elements of what's precious to me, for instance, the vicissitudes of travel, just even that term, that's something my family used to say. And it means that, yeah, it's all
sucks. It's so hard. You're traipsing through Europe and it's 2 a.m. and there's nowhere to eat. And isn't that fun? And so she's like, we have to take all these different pieces that are just so true to what's precious to you about your family and make it so that the audience can enter in and have this way to match up their own struggle, grief, loss, things that they can't put words to, have not maybe wanted to touch, and actually get to see me exercise that so that they all of a sudden have this new way of looking and feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, it talks about, doing it at Jefferson University. So I'm interested because I know that you did it as a part of the Fringe, yes?
Yeah.
And so what was the difference between performing this for a Fringe Festival audience and an audience that was deeply, deeply connected to kind of what you were going through?
You know what? At the Fringe, initially in 2017, we designed it as the piece in and of itself. And then what happened after that, every single performance after that, there was space where the audience just sat and shared with each other. And so that's what was different.
Yeah.
There was one performance at Fringe that was a much bigger group, 90 people. And then there were some groups that were smaller, mostly more like 30.
Yeah.
But so in the bigger groups, people laugh more.
Yeah.
And in the smaller groups, people are watching, and oh boy, do they want to talk when it ends. And I'm amazed. I always think I know what a certain group is going to key in on.
Yeah.
But I'm always wrong. So like at the Woodmere Art Museum, I did it for folks who are caregivers for someone in their family that has dementia. And so I thought we were going to talk about the preciousness of this whole identity piece. And what we wanted to talk about was the visual art that I was holding up in the piece and their relationship with art, and seeing this in a museum where I'm surrounded by art, and being fresh in each moment, because that's what really spoke to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And to be able to hold that space for people to just kind of respond and to kind of receive whatever people are getting. That's what a gift. What a great thing.
Yeah. When you can, do some public service, like not just entertain people and transport them, but like actually touch them in a way that, yes, that you don't normally get to do. That's a calling. It's a service. It's great.
At one performance, speaking of that, there's this character that's the outside world. Someone in the audience, someone in the talkback part, sharing part, said, well, I don't understand why they're there. And someone else got so passionate, like how in theater is a matter of life or death. And for them, it was like, I know the answer to that question. And they said, I lost my sibling. And when people ask you, how was your day? And they're talking about little piddly stuff. And they even know that you went through something. They don't get it. And that's who that character is. And it was like, wow,
Yeah.
I try not to answer too many of those questions. Why is this? Why is that? Because a lot of it is from my unconscious and Karen and my connection and our conversations. So the piece, and that's also how this piece is different for me than any other piece, is that the piece is going to be the piece. It couldn't be my agenda. It never worked if it was my agenda.
That's really interesting.
Can you talk then a little bit about your process during the residency of like what the room was, how did you approach the work?
I actually decided to do this part today because the sister talks about making collage, and that came from a moment in rehearsal at the Jilline Ringle Residency,
Oh, wow.
where Karen had me standing at a table, eyes closed, and I had to be the sister from the inside out. And she gave me different prompts and cues. And the rehearsal room I'm so used to working in my own space, you know? And so by being in your space, it felt like I could hear the piece better. And what came through is I started collaging things. That's what it was. That's who she was.
Yeah.
And it really helped.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I love that image. And do you feel like sister is the closest to you in the piece?
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what is that like to play a character that is you versus a character that is other people? Is it harder, easier?
A version of me.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, like the mother wants to scoop a memory of the brother having done this incredible painting, and I love that painting too. But I'm really like so jealous of him. So the tour guide says, "What do you want to call it?" And the mother says, "Young artist, formative years," and it says jealousy bath, because that's what it is. But it's a laugh line, and it's no longer an anguish to me that I'm in the battle in that version, and that in this play it's a 67th of me.
Yeah.
Right.
So who inspires you? Who do you watch? And I mean, we heard some of the voices or some of the names. And go ahead.
Yeah, we can't let you go without hearing about how it was to work, to open for George Carlin, to work with Chris Rock, and not the least Joe Piscopo.
I made the mistake with Joe Piscopo of saying, "Could I get a little more time?" He didn't like that. But it was amazing to share a stage with Joe Piscopo. With George Carlin, I opened up for him, and he said, "Good jokes."
That is astonishing. Where was this?
It was actually at Borders, and I was there to warm up everyone.
That's amazing.
And he sat there watching me, and it was amazing. Yeah.
So what did you do?
I did I know I did a bunch of characters. I'm pretty sure I did Ruth. I'm pretty sure. I don't know which joke though, darling. I can't remember now. And I did some Danny, and I tried to pick up some ladies. Maybe tried to find a date for George for after the show. I don't know. It was amazing. Sort of my different interactive characters.
Oh my God! Good jokes from George Carlin.
Wow.
It's just a halo post on your head forever. That's
amazing.
I mean, my God, that's incredible.
And so I'm interested in hearing about that, because as I said, my first experience with solo performance was very much those people doing multi-character. And
oh yes, who inspires me?
Yeah, exactly. So who inspires you? Who have you watched over the years that you go like, I want to do that? Or who did you see first that made you think about that?
Yeah. So I love the actress, comedian Denitra Vance.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yep.
And what I love that she said is, if you can get people to laugh, then you can actually bring them over to your point of view. And so that really informed my process.
Yeah.
Of course, Lily Tomlin, my first time seeing Lily Tomlin when I was 16, I had a voice in my head. It's true. And it said, "I do that." And I was like, okay. And I love John Leguizamo so much. when I saw Spicorama, I was in the bathroom, so John Leguizamo, solo performance artist, plays, I think, 7 characters in Spicorama. And I'm in the ladies' bathroom at the theater, and I hear this one woman saying to another woman, "Oh, I love the actress that played the mother."
Amazing.
That's another one of those moments where you go, I want to do that.
Exactly.
I totally want to do that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, amazing. And I'm interested too in like what I love about this piece and what I love about all of the people that we've mentioned and the things that you've done before is like that kind of transformative moment of how characters allow you to transform tragedy into comedy. Or really, if not full-on comedy, just a place that people can enter that's not like, you're talking about Karen saying like, I don't know that I can sit through another like, when I was 17, my mother, that kind of thing. It's like, we're done. So just, if you could just talk a little bit about that, because I really respect that about your work.
Wow. It's interesting. I'm writing a piece now. It's a musical. I don't want to say what it is, but it's kind of like I figured out the tone because it's how these women characters talk to each other about how they see each other. And it's like a very serious situation, but on the side, they're like, like little passive aggressive comments. I guess I can't give that as an example because I'm not. But how do you get there? I think that there's and I should say also one of the big influences in my life is my grandfather, who started telling me dirty jokes when I was 4.
Amazing.
He came from Russia with his mom and brother. He was just 1 year old, and so he was single parent, and he created a whole life for himself here, and just had such an incredible sense of humor. And I think it's really born out of being a survivor. Mm-hmm. I didn't really get that. I just sort of thought, he had a pharmacy. Like, I never thought, like, how did you do that from nothing, But I think that way of needing to have the ba-dum-bum at the end of a hard story is probably hardwired in me. And I think I listen to so many people's hardships. That's something that, I don't know, just I gravitate towards being a space where people will tell me stuff. And I think being able to bring that levity is like a balm, and it's like also like it's just sort of takes the pressure off a little bit in that moment. And it's also and I really see this is hard for you. Like and it's almost like the comedy is almost more in piercing, and I see you, and yeah, that's awful, and I love you all at the same time.
You talk so often about how laughter opens us up, like that's that when you laugh, you're open and therefore
ready
able
to receive.
Right.
Yeah, ready to receive. I also remember talking to this amazing storyteller who used to tell really awful stories in very funny ways. And Cameron Cruz was her name, which is an incredible Moth storyteller winner, memoirist, essayist. She's incredible. And she said, being able to tell a story with humor made it my story. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the heroine. And I was, being able to tell that story from my perspective and my point of view and do it with humor was a way of reclaiming that story as mine. And that's
brilliant. I wish I could step out of being a victim more.
Don't we all?
I know. Your piece is pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, we have some questions for you in the style of
Bouillon de Couture by Bernard Pivot, which was inspiration for James Lipton, which is
Inside the Actors Studio. Yes.
The inspiration for us.
Yes. Why don't you go ahead, James Lipton Light?
All right. James Lipton Light. Wow.
No, I'm smart.
I trimmed my beard today. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so Jennifer,
Yes.
what is your favorite sandwich?
My most favorite sandwich that I've ever had is a tempeh Reuben in Sedona, Arizona.
Ooh,
Yum, yum, yum.
yummy.
Now,
I mean, beyond, just beyond.
yeah.
That,
It
well,
had to be.
But maybe just a regular Reuben if I can't get the tempeh one.
no, but whoa. So do you eat meat?
So I do now, but I didn't for 30 years.
Okay. But like that tempeh Reuben has stuck in your mind against meat Reubens you had recently. Listen, I am a unapologetic omnivore. I can relate. Like I've had some like plant-based that I'm like, okay.
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome. Also, the Reuben is an impossible thing to beat. Like that combination is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So even more importantly,
Yes, okay.
what is your least favorite sandwich?
I don't really have a least favorite sandwich, but I'm just gonna say my daughter's least favorite sandwich is a tuna fish sandwich, which is my husband's favorite sandwich. So that just gives you a little window.
Everybody's favorite is somebody's least favorite.
That's great. It speaks to great division in your household. I know. Okay, so what or who makes you laugh?
My daughter.
Mm,
And we
I
also
didn't get that.
teens started laughing exactly the same way. At the end, we're like, stop it! Stop being me, you know?
Amazing.
Jennifer has a Lily. We have a Lily as well. And Jennifer, what or who makes you cry?
Oh, that's easy. The news makes me cry. It's awful. Yeah.
And do you want to ask the last one?
Sure.
Oh wait, can I say a nice one that makes me cry?
Yeah.
My most incredible performance, one of the best things I ever saw in my life was Diane Weiss in Harold Pinter's A Kind of Alaska. That's the play where she's lost her memory. She wakes up and she thinks herself.
Wow.
That was a good cry.
That was a good cry.
That's awesome.
Diane Weiss.
She's not bad. Who would play you, and now we maybe know the answer to this, who would play you in the movie of your life?
I would want an ensemble.
That's the best answer ever.
Indeed. No, indeed.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
exactly. It's so good.
Possible, I would like Raul Julia, Denitra Vance, and oh goodness. I'll just say every actor that I've ever worked with that I love so much.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's
is amazing.
awesome.
That is amazing. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And thank you for closing out our time on I Put on Pants for this. We are going to take the month of August off, partially because it's so hot in our house that you wouldn't be able to hear us over the fans. Secondly, because we're also going to be coming back with all kinds of new and different activities and fabulous things. I just want to say, I have to go to my notes, archive performances or episodes of I Put on Pants for This are available on our website. There are a couple that are still available on Facebook, but they're all going to be moving to our website. So please check us out at 8to12productions.org. We want to say thank you to our studio producer, who is Ben Levan, our in-house producer, who is Lily Greer. Our sponsor for the show, as always, is my sister Angie's new pug,
Vito.
How
are you going
I went to Louis because
I know.
Look,
Louis.
Just shut it.
That's just a lot of pain right
I know, it is. Vito, who says on behalf of dogs everywhere, we're so glad you're home. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you in September. Bye. Thank you, Jennifer.
Bye, Jennifer Blaine.